9:42, we're back here on BT in a celebration of Indigenous theater. The man that has the title of Artistic Director for the National Arts Centre, Kevin Loring, on the BT couch. Congratulations on the brand new honor.
Thank you so much.
Your reaction, surprised? How long did this take, and how you feel about having this title?
I feel really honored to have this title. It's been a long time coming, I think. In the 48-year history of the National Arts Centre, there has never been anything like this. There's nothing like this in the world, a national level Indigenous theater. And so it's huge. It's a big deal.
What's been the reaction inside the community, locally here in BC and across the country, with an opportunity like this? Is it openly accepted, or is there a bit of resistance and questioning about what stories will be told?
Well, I've personally been getting a lot of love since the announcement, but I know that within the Indigenous theater community, there was a bit of reticence about it. Like, there was a bit of like, well, how do we be an Indigenous theater inside a Canadian Crown corporation, right? Like, how do we maintain our artistic sovereignty when we are basically inside an organization of the man? And yeah, that's something that I'm going to have to discover, right? What that's going to be like. But from what what it seems to be right now is that I have carte blanche to do what I want with my budget and how I want to perceive and move forward with the company.
Well, it's a huge honor to get this type of trust to take this vision forward over the next few years. And you start your role in October, but as we look back at the contributions, I mean, Where the Blood Mixes, that's what, your first play, phenomenal impact on this. When you look at the potential for stories to be told, what stands out for you? What community's been underserved in terms of having a voice? Yeah,
I mean, like, one of the big challenges of the National Arts Centre is that it exists solely in Ottawa, and it's an elite institution for elite artists and an elite clientele. So how do we reach the Indigenous population, which comprise some of the poorest people in our country? And so part of my initiative is to go to those communities, is to take the art out of the institution and bring it out up north, bring it out wherever our people are, so that we bring it to them so they don't have to come to us. So I intend to have like at least 4 shows a season at the National Arts Centre in Ottawa, and another 4 shows outside of Ottawa, outside of Ontario even, and spreading around the country, because I gotta address the national part of that title, right? And so that's my idea about how I do that.
And how does something like this moment, act as a step forward toward reconciliation, especially when you look at a day like National Aboriginal Day?
For sure. I think that this is a huge platform to tell our stories. This is you know, our languages and our stories throughout Canadian history have been suppressed and repressed through legislation, and it's only in fairly recent history in this country that we've been able to express ourselves in the way that we want. And so to have a national stage like this, to do that, to elevate the Indigenous theater ecology across the board is a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big opportunity. And
a pretty big balancing act, because I was saying to you before you know, we were on camera here, when you have the opportunity and a community of voices saying, what about this? Kevin, make sure you tell this.
Yeah.
How do you balance out the demand now of all of these great stories to be told?
That's going to be a challenge. I mean, part of the job is actually to go out and see what's being done, to see the work that's out there, to see the possibilities, right? And before you make your decision about how you're going to set your season. But I hope to be able to interface and meet a bunch of artists all across the country, and ones that I don't know, as well as elevate, you know, across the board what they're doing.
And SavageSociety.ca, I know, is a website, a hub of sorts that's going to help drive the stories. How will this work? How will the engagement and interaction help drive the stories being told?
Well, I think that the more input we get from the community, the more input we get from the artists, that what they're up to, what they're doing. We also want to reach out to them to show them what our accomplishments will be down the road and what we're working on, to see how they can come on board or be a part of. Or, I mean, everything these days is social media, right? So, like, as much as we have our stories being told on stage, we also want to share them across all those media platforms, and that's going to be a big, important part of us.
And this day today, as a celebration, happens all across the country. How do you like to honor National Aboriginal Day? What stands out? How can people get involved?
Well, I would say that you can start by reading the 93 calls to action from the TRC. I think that's a really strong way to actually show your support for Aboriginal people in this country. Find your local celebration, join in, go learn, go buy an Indian taco, Check it out.
Celebrate it all. Hey, John Entry Park, that's the place to be today down in Victoria Drive. I know they're going to have a day full of celebrations as well. And when will the first season roll out, by the way, for these stories?
2019-2020.
Okay, so a couple years in the making. They're excited outside, too. They're honking the horns. They're celebrating with us. Kevin, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.